The man kept sniffing the woman's body, seeming like a total creep. However, he was actually trying to diagnose her illness. The woman had no idea what disease she had contracted, and her body was covered in red rashes.
Need to get a better look at your rash.
Use your imagination.
At that moment, the flight attendant came over and said that 3 more passengers had been infected. What on earth was this disease? Just then, a man in first class suddenly became dazed and started vomiting uncontrollably. The flight attendant was terrified and asked if there were any doctors on board. Dr. House was sitting right next to the man, but he didn't want to deal with him and simply changed his seat. However, as soon as he sat down, the female passenger in front of him also began to vomit. The dean, who was traveling with them, noticed that the woman's body was also covered in red rashes, identical to the man's symptoms. House suspected it might be food poisoning and asked the flight attendant about the in-flight meal options. The attendant replied that first class had steak and cod, while economy class had pasta and grilled seafood skewers. House guessed that the problem was likely with the cod and seafood. He immediately grabbed the intercom and told everyone who had eaten fish or seafood to rush to the bathroom and throw up to reduce the absorption of toxins. Upon hearing this, the passengers erupted into chaos and raced to the restrooms. Subsequently, the 2 infected patients were isolated in first class. The dean reminded House that these symptoms could also be caused by meningococcal bacteria. If that were the case, half of the passengers on the plane would die from infection before reaching their destination. House decided to test for one of the symptoms of meningitis, lack of coordination. He asked the man to stand up and walk a few steps, but the man's legs trembled and he collapsed to the floor. Left with no choice, House had to lift the man back into his seat. At that very moment, the dean also started vomiting. House pulled open the dean's shirt and found more red rashes. Now House was stumped. The dean hadn't eaten anything at all. Could it really be meningococcal bacteria?